The Walking Dead Season 11 Episode 19 titled Variants just released on AMC Plus Early Access, and I just watched it and I'm about to discuss it. But before I get too in-depth, there will be some spoilers in this, as this isn't going to be a play-by-play, but I will talk about some things. So if you're interested, go watch the episode first and then come back and watch this. So Variants is the name of this episode, and when I saw that that was the name of this episode, I got very, very excited because I really, really, really liked the post-credits scene in the finale of season 2 of The Walking Dead World Beyond. And me personally, I say this in every one of my videos, but I'm a Walking Dead fanboy. I love every Walking Dead show. I don't love every Walking Dead show, but I love the Walking Dead universe, and I'm gonna watch every single show that comes out for it, regardless of its quality. But let's be honest with ourselves. It's getting kind of boring seeing enemy group after enemy group after enemy group after enemy group. So what I would do, what I want The Walking Dead to do, to feel revigorated, to feel like it has a breath of fresh air, to feel like it's different in a way, is to bring back the horror as the main focus of the show. More specifically, walker-based horror. But how does the show do that? How does the show make walkers scary again when they've been essentially just a boring nuisance for the past however many seasons? Like, one of my biggest complaints in The Walking Dead is just how boring the walkers are and how they treat the walkers as a threat. Like, in every single episode, it's just 3 walkers come out of the woods and then Daryl puts a knife in their forehead or Rosita kills them or whatever. And ooh, scary, but the biggest threat comes from the enemies. Now, Fear the Walking Dead has handled this better. Like, I've said this countless times in my videos, but I really, really like how Fear the Walking Dead handles the walkers. The way that they direct the action just makes it feel more intense, a bit more frightening. But for the Walking Dead universe to feel really fresh and different going forward, in my opinion, it needs to be horror-based, it needs to be more horror-centric, and the walkers need to be the threat, but they can't really do that now that the walkers have just been boring for so long. So the only logical way to do that is to make there be a variant of walkers, to make the walkers be able to run, to make them be able to think a little bit, to make them be able to grab a hold of spears like they did to Lydia, which was creepy as fuck, to be able to climb up onto a balcony. Like, that's horrifying. And I would love nothing more than to see our characters that we've followed for years to actually be in a vulnerable position again against the walkers. And I'm very, very excited to see these variants going forward. Like, I am so excited. I can't wait to see our main characters actually feel frightened by the walkers again. And I really, really hope that AMC and the showrunners and everyone involved handles this properly. Like, I don't want them to be scary for, a couple episodes or maybe the first season of whatever spinoff and then sort of be lost in the background where they're just a nuisance again. Like, I want these walkers to feel horrifying for a long period of time. And that was my favorite aspect of this whole episode, was the Aaron storyline, that Aaron arc in this whole episode where he was with Lydia and Jerry. And they were at this abandoned Renaissance fair and they made it a camp just for a short period of time. And then they thought whisperers were attacking them. And I thought it was really cool. Like, seeing Aaron punch a walker in the face was not only intense, but it showed the reality of their paranoias and the paranoia that the whisperers caused them and them having to deal with the variants going forward. And then when he ripped the face off the walker, expecting it to be a whisperer, and it was just a walker. In my opinion, that was one of the scariest scenes in The Walking Dead since probably season 9 when the whisperers were first introduced in the first place. But again, I know I sound like a broken record sometimes, but I really, really love this new variant of the walkers. And I really hope that they're the main focus in terms of what the suspense is built around in the Walking Dead universe going forward. And I wonder if they're going to go back and sort of explain season 1 walkers, because if you remember correctly, in The Walking Dead season 1, the walkers acted a bit differently, especially in Atlanta. They banged on doors, they picked up rocks, they used the rocks to try and get through a glass door, they ran, they jumped over fences. Now, the logical reason, the reality of why those walkers acted different was because Frank Darabont was in charge of season 1, I imagine, and he just wanted the walkers to act that way. And then when he was let go from the show, they decided to sort of rework the walkers and make them more like they were in the graphic novel. So I imagine that's probably the reality of why the walkers acted different in season 1. But I wonder if going forward they're gonna just explain that those were variants even back then. And I wonder where these variants come from. Like, are they evolving? Are they just a different type of walker that has always been around, just less so in the United States? So our main characters have never really encountered them, ever. But maybe like in Europe, in the UK, where that end credit scene for World Beyond took place, they're a lot more common. But let me know, where do you think these variants come from? Let me know your theories. Do you think that these are walkers evolving? Or do you think that these are variants that have always been around, but have been sporadic, so we've never really seen them in where our main shows take place. But there were some other aspects of this episode that I really, really liked. For example, the Eugene scene with Daryl where he threatened to fight him was hilarious, and I loved it. And there were some monologues and dramatic moments, some dramatic dialogue in this episode that wasn't horrible. Now, Walking Dead dialogue used to be really, really good, but we all know that Walking Dead dialogue has come across very melodramatic and cheesy and overacted sometimes a lot lately, especially like in season 7 and 8. But there were some monologues and dramatic moments in this episode that wasn't great. It wasn't as good as earlier seasons of The Walking Dead, but it wasn't bad either. I didn't feel like it was too cheesy, you know what I mean? Notably, the scene between Eugene and Rosita I really, really liked. And then there was a scene between Princess and Mercer, which I really, really liked. And then I think the standout was the talk between Aaron and Lydia. I really liked that moment. But Mercer is put in a very interesting place. Like, we have the Commonwealth and the people in charge, for example, you know, the Miltons, and then obviously Hornsby a little bit, even though he's still locked up. And then we have our main characters, our survivors. And there's definitely a power struggle happening here. And I feel like Mercer is put right in the middle. I feel like whatever decision Mercer makes is gonna flip the tides of what's to come. Like, I feel like his decision making is going to be ultimately what decides who's in charge come the end of the day. Anyway, that's my quick thoughts on the newest episode of The Walking Dead, season 11, episode 19, titled Variants. What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments. And obviously, consider subscribing to this page if you like this video. I talk about The Walking Dead and The Walking Dead universe all the time. I also do other TV show discussions, movie discussions, trailer reactions, that sort of thing. Just check out the channel, and thank you for watching, especially if you watch this far.